like overwhelmed with like, oh my gosh, there's so much to look at. What do I take pictures of? I'm Kelsey, that's Tim, and this is our rolling home Dusty. We hit the road full time a few years ago to follow our dreams of driving around the world, and we headed south. We did it! COVID brought us back to the States, but there is plenty of adventure to be had here while we wait out the pandemic. So come along and enjoy this crazy ride we call life. Good morning, everybody.
It's bright.
It is really bright.
We're at a really rad spot.
Yes.
It's the Land Cruiser Heritage Museum. Had to look at the name. I know it's a Land Cruiser Museum, but I think there's heritage in there somewhere. And really kind of right next to Salt Lake City, Utah.
Just north of it.
Yeah,
slightly.
It's amazing. Can't wait to see it. There's a truck in there Kelsey got to drive as part of Expedition 7, and just so much. So this is going to be, honestly, I know it's not going to be a full tour because it would take a few days of filming here to probably do that. But I don't know, we'll give you like a light overview so you can plan your trip.
Yeah, we're excited to see it. Come along.
Come inside.
Hi.
Once you enter the front door, you are instantly greeted with everything Land Cruiser. Literally, everything.
Okay, first impressions, there are so many trucks to look at, it's a bit overwhelming. But it's really cool and it's really well done.
The museum's goal is to have an example of every Land Cruiser, which means there is over 100 here and growing.
It's overwhelming. You see the whole progression, of course. So you see from the 20 series to the 40 series, you see the changes in the 40 series. So depending on your geek level, each one will be sort of important. And it's really cool to see. I even love to, so when we were in South America, you'd see these Daihatsu TAFs. Okay, I'll put on the screen what TAF stands for, but it's a hilarious little sentence. And these are essentially Daihatsu TAFs, but they're Toyotas too. So they're a Blizzard. Mini Cruiser, that's the Blizzard, but it looks like a little tiny FJ40. I've always thought importing one of those, I've heard they're not great, not super heavy duty like a Land Cruiser, but how cool to have like a mini, almost like a toy Land Cruiser, just to putt around or something. But it's so overwhelming. Every variation that they could find is pretty much every variation anyways is represented here, and even some immensely obscure ones. The first Toyota Land Cruiser to be imported to the United States, one of the earliest Land Cruisers ever made, and then a lot of the obscure sort of not seen too often, Bandeirantes, which I'm sure I'm saying wrong, made in Brazil under license, I think, or I don't know if it's actually Toyota, but there's a cool military one here. They're really hideously ugly with the square headlights, but still really neat. Some of them have round headlights, but here's looks like a 40 that's actually the color that Tonto is underneath. So that's the color he was originally, mustard, which someday, I don't know if I could ever paint him, but it'd be cool to have him mustard again, but it's amazing. You definitely have to come here and check it out. Even if you're just interested in vehicles and not a Toyota guy, it's the obscurity of it all. I mean, look at this little hood ornament right here, right? So random. And just the old Toyota logos, if you like advertising and you like design, to see a progression of a company as big as Toyota, depending on the year. The largest automaker in the world, came out of a country that was sort of decimated after World War II. And then to see the first Land Cruiser they built, and it didn't win the contract actually that it was going for, and then they just started producing more. And I mean, you think of what it's turned into today, it's kind of a monster of a company. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep geeking out here, and I'll talk again when I think of something.
This little 40 was burned in the camp wildfire. It was donated to the museum by the owner who had purchased it new. It serves as a reminder of how quickly things you cherish can be taken away. If you want to know the backstory on any or all of these vehicles, head over to the museum's website. I'll leave the link below. They have info on each and every truck in here. Plus, you can take a virtual walk around the museum if you can't make it here in person. I like that color and that color and that color and that color and that color. They're all really cool.
So in South America, in Colombia especially, we saw tons of really nice looking 80 series. And I knew they kept making them in Venezuela after they stopped being made in the United States, or made in Japan for the United States. But they were like carbureted 1FZ engine. So the same engine as Goose, but with a carburetor and a manual you could get. So this is a 2007, the final year of 80 series production, which is pretty awesome. So someday you'll be able to import a 2007 80 series, which hopefully it hasn't been too abused after 25 years, but it's just mind-blowing that you can get such a new 80 series. No sunroof either, so clean roof. Oh, be the ultimate 80 series.
There's just so much to look at. The colors, the sizes, the different types. It's kind of crazy. Pretty cool. There's so many in here.
It's just so much variation, and I think because we've gotten to use a 40 and an 80, 60 series, 70 series, like so much, everything seems familiar. Yeah. And the little differences, you know, and for years before we left on the main trip, we were considering going to Australia to buy Troopy. So we've ad nauseum looked at Troopies for sale over the years.
Also, it makes me really want to wash and wax Dusty because they're all so shiny and clean that it makes Dusty look very, very dirty right now. So.
So this 70 series is actually a multi. It looks like a 76 series, which is kind of a cool, not super practical one for travel because it's not as big interior as a Troopy and it's a little shorter wheelbase, but that's actually an 80 series beneath it. So you get all the pluses of an 80 series, but with the looks of a brand new 76. So it's a pretty rad little truck. Locked in a low range, so you had no high range, and then you didn't even have 4th and 5th gear, so you could do 3rd gear low range, like 15 miles an hour would be top speed. And then they removed the brakes and they were operated hydraulically, which, I mean, brakes are hydraulic, but
I mean, it was a mine truck, you said?
Yeah.
So sadly, the E7 truck that I drove most is not here. But I did drive this one. Not for very long, but I did drive that one. The one that I drove the most, though. Not here. Don't know where he is. Poor guy. So funny, I just noticed that there's little bow shackles as the like barrier to looking at the trucks. I like the attention to detail, pretty funny. So as I'm walking around just filming, I keep catching sight of this man back here. He's not real. I keep thinking he is. That was really cool.
That was awesome.
Totally worth it. So much to see that we can only show you a taste of it. So
yeah, I think it's one of those you got to do return visits. The building itself is so cool that if you're just into sort of old buildings, it was a foundry. It's just awesome. The sort of patina of the building, the old equipment. Yeah, right? Like it's one of those that you could see someone turning into a really high price loft or something.
Yeah, super cool.
So this is the new museum building. So if you haven't visited, recently, I'd say even just a few months, I think she said, then it was probably the old building. But building's amazing, and just the collection. It's so overwhelming that you keep looking and looking and looking. And then for me, it's sort of like a fine art museum. At some point, you're just like, I'm not really looking at it anymore. My brain is shut off.
So much to see.
I'm just staring at things.
Yeah.
So, but that was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So if, we'll put information for the museum down below if you guys want to visit it yourself. I would recommend it.
Absolutely. Sure. Definitely make a stop. And I would say if you're anywhere near Utah, just come through Salt Lake City because
it's worth going a little out of the way for.
You've got the museum, Cruiser Outfitters. There's so much Land Cruiser stuff in Utah, and not to mention good trails.
Yeah.
You got to stop by here if you're anywhere nearby.
Yep, totally. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.